Hello, and welcome to episode 106 of the SheGulls podcast, the one and only podcast dedicated, of course, to Brighton and Hove Albion women's football team. I am joined today by fellow Albion fans, Ben. Hello, Ben.
Hi, Duncan.
And by Claire. Hello, Claire.
Hello, Duncan.
There we go. We had to do it the other way around for our live podcast, didn't we? Because Claire was next to me, so we had to have a little switcheroo. But there we go. So hopefully everyone has listened to the live podcast that we put out last week or about a week and a half ago. If you haven't, please do give it a listen. It was a good laugh. We'll have a very minor chat about it later, but yeah, thank you everyone for coming and. Yeah, we had a lovely time. So there has been a little gap since we did an episode. Obviously, we tried to cover as much as we could at the live, but there were one or two things we couldn't get to. And also, obviously, there's been more news since we were there. So that's always good. It's nice to have a smorgasbord of information to give people. Didn't think I'd be using the word smorgasbord within the first 90 seconds of the podcast, but there we go. That's why we're unscripted. Yes, so... the big sort of news, I think, really, was that we played a game of football. Hooray! We're back.
We're back. We so back.
just pre-season mode at the moment. MD minus about 4 weeks or whatever they say nowadays. I think that's how the youngsters do it. So, yes, we were all at the Amex yesterday for a friendly game against PSG. I was going to say it was a lovely day. I mean, as a British person, it was too hot, wasn't it?
It was a bit warm.
Too hot. Yeah, absolutely lovely day. But heaven forfend if you forgot your sun cream. Goodness knows. I mean, I could feel that sun cooking me as we sat in our seats. So, yeah, would have been nice if we were sat over the other side that was in the lovely shade.
Yes.
But no, we just had to look over admiringly at it every now and again as a small... sort of breeze wafted past us and we all went, oh, thank God. Yes, so without further ado, I need to get my co-hosts' impressions of the game, which did finish 1-1, so we didn't lose against a very good European team. So I'm going to throw it to Claire first. What were your sort of overall thoughts on the day and the game itself?
Well, I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was exactly what it was. It was a pre-season friendly, rusty legs and, not quite match fit yet, and everyone getting on with it and having a go. And it was good fun. I think we held them off pretty well. I don't think that we looked under threat too often, dealt with most stuff that came our way. Typical thing of, give away a goal that basically the referee could have given us a free kick for, should have given us a free kick for, but there you go. That's the way it is. And yeah, an excellent free kick from the captain to make it 1-1. But I thought it was a great opportunity for us fans just to, get a look at all the new players and meet everybody afterwards and all that sort of stuff. It's just really, really nice day, I felt. Just nice little reintroduction to fans and players and team and supporting and the whole shebang. So, yeah. Roll on.
Yeah, it seemed to all go very smoothly. I mean, obviously, it is easier when there's a fair amount less than we normally have there. But I did think, I think it was just over 1,600 we had, which for a pre-season friendly, I mean, we've been asking for quite a while now to be allowed to watch these pre-season friendlies. And I sort of think, well, if 1,600 people are going to turn up for them, I know the Amex is big and everything like that, but it does show that there's appetite.
Absolutely. I think last season we had a couple of games, I think, against people like West Ham or something, where we probably just about made 1,600 people to a WSL game. So to get them out for a friendly was that. I just think that's brilliant, and that can only be built upon.
Absolutely. Ben, have you anything to add? I'm sure you have.
Well, a little bit. Yeah, I suppose. To echo what Claire said, it was a really nice afternoon, and she said it was great to see, have a good look at the new players. I mean, it was obviously, for those who I can't imagine anyone who's listening to this that wasn't there, but well, there might be a few, I suppose. But obviously, it was an 11 played the first half, and then a different 11 played the second half. PSG made a few second half substitutions, but then a load more after about an hour or so. Because I think, they're obviously, I don't know, I'm not sure exactly when the French season starts, but they have got qualification rounds for the Champions League to play. So they're a bit more sort of trying to get ready for the season than we are, which is one reason to be very happy with the result. I think that they are, they're not the French champions, but they're kind of one of the better teams in France, and they're up there at the top, and they're vying for Champions League football. And we were pretty much the better team for most of the time. They got that goal on the break, which, as Claire said, Mario Owe was rugby tackled on the halfway line.
There's a definite foul, but
and the ref pass. But even so, another one of those goals where we get caught on the break, and that sort of stuff, which maybe is something to work on. But other than that, I don't think either goalkeeper. I don't think Eleanor Heaps, who played the second half, had much to do really. So it was difficult for her to sort of prove herself to us in a way. But some great performances from new and old. I think particularly in Brighton. Leah Volti really was. I wouldn't say class above, but class, wasn't she?
You can just tell it.
She touched.
I remember thinking the same when Chankovic started playing for us. The same thing where you can just see that they are, like you say, not a level above, but they're very much like
calm.
It's within their
calmness.
Wheelhouse. It's not some of the players, and I'm sure we'll get into it, some of the players it felt like a bit of a learning process, and so it should be. It's pre-season, and some of the players haven't played in the league before. For someone like Valti, it probably was similar to someone like Yelena, where it's like, I'm back, I know what I'm doing, I know where I'm going, all this sort of thing, and you could just see it, couldn't you? I didn't mean to interrupt. Sorry, Ben.
No. That's kind of what I was going for. I think again, Emilia Yorimo sort of in a similar kind of position to her. Really good. Both ends of the pitch really. I think the number of times people would pass to her short or pass to her sort of badly or whatever, and she'd still get the ball. I think that really impressed me. Because you don't want to give the ball away in midfield, and if you've got a midfielder that can intercept the bad passes and still keep possession, but when passes are going astray, that was great. And then I suppose one of the disappointing things, they switched ends sort of on the toss, so we had the sort of right hand side for the first half, the Albion right hand side, which obviously we could watch Olga Carmona, which was quite cool, with her nice carbon fibre mask on. But also we had Kiko, which was great because I love watching Kiko. But then at the same time, it was like, oh no, Emily Murphy's on the other side of the pitch, and I can't really see Emily Murphy. So she was sort of playing as a bit of a winger, which was a bit confusing, but did some good stuff. So I think that most of the new ones, and obviously Olivia Garcia, I think considering she's really only been here for about a week, was really, really busy and really getting herself into those positions where if you can get the ball to her, she's got to tap in or whatever, and that kind of thing. So I think that it's going to take a few weeks for her to get accustomed to the rest of the team, but that she looked like fun. I suppose, and another really impressive one, Sophie Peskett. I think, we weren't confused, but I don't know. It was sort of, we've signed a player from Ipswich, but I think they've obviously seen something there, and I think she obviously felt, I've got 45 minutes to make an impression, and boy did she. She was sort of fantastic. So again, winning the ball back and beating her player, tenacious, whatever, getting into the box. Obviously, it was her that was pulled down for the free kick that Maisie scored from. Fantastic. And I forget the name of who the defender was, but I'd like to think if that was a competitive game, that would have been a straight red.
I think it could well have been.
It wasn't dangerous. Obviously, it wasn't dangerous or like that, but it was basically a rugby tackle just outside the box. So pretty much all the new girls we saw were fantastic, weren't they? And also, I mean, another shout out as well. She's not a new girl, but Jess Pegram played the second half, and wow,
really good.
Wow, you know, I suppose she spent most of last season playing at Ibrox, so she's used to the big stages. Although she probably would have played in front of about the same number of people as that there, because I don't think they get enormous gates. But yeah, I mean, you wouldn't know that was her Amex debut. That was the first time she's played, probably the first time she's played that many minutes for Brighton as well. She's had a few League Cup sort of cameos and stuff in the past, but that was fantastic, and level-headed, etc., just brilliant. So sorry, I've gone on far too long, but it was great.
On Jess, I absolutely agree with you. One of the things I said to my daughter sitting next to me was that she looks like she belongs. There's sometimes players especially when they're starting out and they're young, they can look a bit like sort of Bambi on ice type thing, or they just don't look kind of up with the play and stuff like that. She looked like she belonged there. She made a couple of mistakes, but she didn't seem to let them phase her. Yeah, they didn't affect her. She didn't suddenly go into her shell, and she was still pointing. She was talking, which is great. I don't think we'll obviously maybe talk about my Lisa in a minute, but she had Maisie alongside her, which I don't think was probably in the initial plan for the game. In fact, Jess may not have been originally scheduled to come on because she wasn't on the subs list that they put out before the game, which was a bit weird because we seem to have more substitutes than we needed, but I don't know. But yes, there were some last minute changes, but obviously from Jess's perspective, that obviously worked to her favour because it meant she got the whole second half. And like I say, if there's a cross coming in or there was a ball to be cut out or whatever, then she was on it. She looked very comfortable. And like I say, I like the fact that she was like talking and pointing and not sort of like, oh, I'm the new girl, I can't sort of say the captain should go over here or whatever. So I thought that was really good. I think, to be honest with you, when she did make a couple of mistakes was when she came forward with the ball and then trying to get it into the midfield. And I thought she was really good at actually bringing the ball out. It was just that final ball that once or twice sort of tripped her up a little bit, and then they would sort of counter in behind her. But I don't know about you guys. I think and this isn't really a negative because it's pre-season, but I think the only thing that I thought they probably needed to work quite hard on were those short passes and those first-time passes.
I think we just looked rusty.
Yeah,
a bit tired. We've had 7 weeks off of doing sod all.
Yeah,
running around Europe and Australia and God knows where else they've all been.
Yeah,
and I think that just showed, and that's just match fitness, isn't it? Which is the point of these games.
Exactly, and getting on the same wavelength and stuff like that. It was just in particular when they could get their head up and pass it. The passing was quite good. It was the ones round the corner. It was the layoffs. It was all that. And like I say, I think that's just, you're going to get that in pre-season because you're not on the same wavelength. And, we all know how, say, for example, Fran and Kiko started to combine with the sort of passing down the right-hand side. But that didn't start from like game one. It took a few games and a few weeks to start to develop. So I'm sure that's coming.
Yeah. I was just going to say, when you're going back to like Pegram and Heron as well.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what I've been saying about, it's okay having these academies and having all these great players coming through them, but then none of them they get their chance. They don't take them. Those two kids took their chances yesterday. They went out there and they went, this is what I can do. Yes, I'm going to make mistakes. Yeah, I'm not going to be brilliant, but I am absolutely going to show you what I can do. And I think that for me is the big difference between how you come through an academy and get into a squad, or you get shifted on out to Bristol City on loan and drifting around in the WSL2 for 4 years. They took their chance. Pegram, like you say, she looked like she belonged. Yes, she's got a lot to learn, and yes, she's not going to knock Caitlin out of the team, but she's got something about her, and the same with Heron. That speed, how she, loses the ball and she's like a rocket whizzing back in and getting the ball back. And really, for somebody as small and tiny as she is super strong. You're not getting her off the ball. You know, if once she's got that ball, she's so, you know, same with Sonoda, isn't it? There's something about the strength of those little ones that they're so low to the ground or whatever, and you just can't get the ball off them. But yeah, I just thought that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You need stuff like that to be able to help you thrive in that environment. You know, you can be very quick, but if you're like a wafer thin biscuit, then you're just going to get pushed and shoved off the ball every 5 seconds, and vice versa. You can be a taller player, a rangier player, you know, but then if someone runs at you, you're stuffed. So you kind of need to have a few strings to your bow, and I think that's what kind of produces an academy talent into like a full-blown footballer, is that they are able to do a range of things enough so that in their position they can, like I say, thrive instead of kind of you know, going into the background. So yeah, I thought it was great, and that's when we want to see the youngsters and stuff. You know, we got the opportunity to see a few at Lewis, probably a bit further down the totem pole a few weeks ago, but you know, this is pre-season. This is the time to see if players like Jess and Tahira can fit in. And you know, to be honest with you, even though, like I say, and I don't want to keep going back to it, but you know, Jess did make 1 or 2 mistakes, but so did Marriott. You know, so did Mo.
So did everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't like, oh goodness me, we've been brilliant until Jess came on or whatever. It was like the whole team made a couple of mistakes. It's pre-season, like, you know, it's no big deal. And I think you could see the positives from it and go, okay, well, if you're going to iron out them 1 or 2 mistakes, then, you know, welcome to the squad, because you know, why not have a you know, I know she isn't a kind of born and bred Brightonian per se, but she's from the academy. You know, she's obviously has homegrown eligibility. I'm pretty sure she still doesn't even need to count towards a squad this season. So why not have her around and learning, even if she does only get the Subway Cup games or whatever? Probably if she went to a Bristol City or a Durham or someone like that, she'd probably only get the Subway Cups for them anyway.
Yeah.
So, you know, we don't seem to live in a world where WSL 2 teams apparently need WSL youngsters, so they don't play them. So what's the point? Might as well keep them here, indoctrinate them in our way, keep them training with our players, you know. And I could see someone like Jess probably coming. Ultimately, I think they'd probably like her to replace Caitlin, not this season, maybe not even next season, but maybe in a year to 2 years' time, you could see, you know, they're not dissimilar in terms of their stature and probably their kind of strengths.
Yeah.
You know, you've let a player ultimately go, and you know, maybe she'll retire, maybe Caitlin will go back to Celtic, whatever it may be in a year or two, but you've replaced them with your player, indoctrinated in your ways with 2 years of experience, rather than going, oh, we'll have to go and buy XYZ or whatever, and then they're a foreign player, so we have to get an English player in to counteract that, and so on and so forth, you know. So I think it's great. And I do think when we had our conversation with Dario, he was quite hot on that. He did mention a couple of other players, I think Mia Barmer as well, who obviously had a nasty injury. Obviously, Patience Fergus had a nasty injury as well. So, you know, it might have been nice had they not been injured. Maybe they would have got some game time, and hopefully they will in the future. But he sounded very much like he is optimistic about the players that are coming through. And I think for a long time, it was basically Libby Bance or nothing. You know,
Libby Bance was the midfield. It was, you know what I mean?
She was certainly the only academy product we had. And I slightly think that might have been why we held on to her for so long, because ultimately we wanted her to come good enough to play for us, because we can say, look, she came through our system. You know, and it didn't work out for whatever reason. But now I think we've got multiple players who are knocking on doors at different positions, at centre back, at wide, at striker. You know, so you know, goalkeeper. So you know, long may that continue.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. I thought that Jess was wearing number 36, which is a suspiciously low number for an academy player. They tend to be sort of over 40. So I can't remember what she was before she left. I think she might have been no, she wasn't 64 because that was Emily Gay. But anyway, I think she was she was 60. That was it when she was in the academy. Obviously wore 5 at Rangers, and now she's come back. And yeah, that's 36 is almost a squad number.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I mean, people do. I've seen a lot of the men's chat sort of talking about the the men's team and noticing certain players have got lower numbers and things like that. So yeah, I think every team does it, doesn't they? But yeah, it was great to see them. I want to talk a little bit about there's no point talking about the PSG goal. It was basically a foul, and then they caught us on the break. But it's a bit of a warning, because I think like you said, Ben, sometimes it won't be a foul, and then we're up a certain creek without a certain paddle.
Or sometimes it is a foul and the ref doesn't
give it.
That has happened yesterday. So yeah, it's the sort of thing that we often did. Somebody would just go. I mean, they did have a fair bit of pace up front, PSG. So somebody just goes steaming up one of our wings, puts the ball in, and everybody's facing our goal, and they get to it first. And yeah, that's why we lost to Tottenham last year, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that they're going to want to work on. I know that we did try, and it did look like we were playing 3 at the back, which I think is still probably going to be the way that we want to do it. But obviously, having 2 different sets of 3 at the back and things like that, I don't know if that necessarily helped in that moment, because they're not, none of the 3 were kind of used to necessarily playing with that exact configuration of defenders. So, I think it might just be one of them. But we do need to watch the pace, because like we've said, we've lost Raki Maki, who was our kind of pacey defender on the right. And Mo isn't slow, but she's not fast. She's somewhere in the middle, I think, I would say. So, and we don't really have cover there per se. Obviously we'll speak in a minute about Gabby George, but again, she's not really a wing back. She's more of a full back who can get forward from time to time. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether anyone does come in to strengthen either of the sort of flanks in the defence. I don't necessarily see that happening, purely because I think we'd probably need a player on both sides, and I don't know how much churn of our own players that we have we're going to want to do, which kind of intimates to me this sort of system of having sort of full backs that are also centre backs, like Arsenal and Man City do in the men's game, and I think probably to a certain extent might be being adopted somewhat by the top teams in the WSL as well.
Well, Alex Greenwood is a centre back that plays at left.
Exactly. So, and there's a lot of advantages to that. There's 1 or 2 disadvantages, and probably the disadvantage is what allowed the goal on the weekend, which is that you can be vulnerable down the wings if your 3 centre backs are quite narrow, or they're caught narrow, or one of them's caught higher up the pitch and they're having to cover. You can be a bit vulnerable, but all things to work on. Again, no panic. Like, PSG are a good side. You're hardly expecting to turn up and just, win the percentage battle 90-10, and they're just taking goal kicks all game. It's obvious they were going to be able to do something against us. So, I wanted to ask. I'll come to you on first on this one, Ben. I wanted to ask about Maisie's free kick. So our equaliser. What did you think of that?
Oh, it's lovely. I mean, it was sort of wasn't a top bins job. I think it looks like it actually went through the wall as well.
I think so.
Kind of difficult to say. But obviously, I don't know if she planned to hit it at the wall, or whether she saw the wall splitting and that sort of thing. But I think it's great that the skipper can remind herself every now and again what a talent she is. That when we get the free kick, it's literally like a foot outside the box, that she's the guy to take it. So yeah, it was nice. I mean, obviously Manu dummied it. Manu can take them, so that kept them guessing a bit that they might be getting a left foot shot. But yeah, I mean, she's a talent. I think she's now scored 3 goals for the Albion, and they've all been free kicks from just outside the box. So keep it up, Maze. More of those, please. I think as a lot of people are saying. But yeah, I think, and it was good. And I think I think it's. I mean, the result didn't matter. I think the performance was great and stuff. But I think it's nice when sort of you get a friendly between two competitive sides. It's nice. I think they all should finish 1-1 or 2-2 or whatever. You know, it's like the Charity Shield always used to in the olden days. So it's just a nice sort of everyone goes home sort of happy kind of thing.
Yeah, job done sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, I'll come to Claire in a minute, but yeah, I sort of felt like, especially when I watched it on the replay, I think she almost saw a gap, particularly with the keeper.
Yeah.
And then just thought, oh, if I can see straight through there, I'll just hit it straight through there and it'll go in. And I think that's pretty much what she did. Because, yeah, it wasn't like dipping and arcing and curling. And it just kind of went straight where the wall had parted and the goalkeeper wasn't stood. You know, so you can't really say fairer than that. But what did you think of Maisie overall, Claire? Because she did play more defensively than probably anticipated.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell when because like you say, she's completely out of position and she did what she needed to do. We've seen her as a centre back before, so we know she can do that job. I would prefer her not to do that job. I want her further up the pitch because I would like her to be skirting around the edge of the box and just whacking shots in like she does with a free kick, you know, and just going for it. Because I think sometimes we have the opportunity to take a shot from somewhere around the edge of the box and we don't. We try and want to feed it all through and get it, you know, walk it in. And it's like, just hit it. Just hit it. If you've got players that can hit it. And we've got several that can. We've got Chankovic, we've got Maisie, we've got Fran. There's plenty of people that can give a shot. So, yeah, I'm glad she got a goal. I think it's nice. It's first game in front of the fans after she signed her contract. So it's kind of a hello, here I am. And, yeah, just more of that, please, Maisie. Right.
It was nice that she came over and celebrated like in front of the fans and stuff as well.
She always does that. I mean, it's one thing you can't knock her for.
Yeah.
She has totally embraced that the fans are a very big part of what they're doing. And I think that, you know, she as soon as she came on the pitch, her and Manu straight away, hands up in the air, clapping the fans, making sure that everybody is, you know, all in this together. And I think that's part, you know, we've said it, isn't it? It's part of it. If your fans that feel disconnected, they're not going to support you as well. So you've got to be connected to your fans. And Maisie 100% does that. So, yeah, I think brilliant. I think she loves it that she can celebrate a goal with us. Because she's probably spent her entire, you know, all these young kids growing up, like as they were playing football, wanting to aspire to what the men get, that kind of icon status. And they've got 2 men and a dog watching them, you know. And now they suddenly got a stadium full of people. Like, why wouldn't you embrace that? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Absolutely. Just embrace it. It's fantastic. It's what football's all about. It's lots of noise and singing and chanting and just celebrating together. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember I think Ella Toon, after she scored the goal to win us the Euro 2022 finals, she said that she didn't know what she did afterwards because she thought about like doing a celebration, but she couldn't. She was so excited. She said, "I think I did about 6 celebrations at one time." I just thought that is what you would do, though, isn't it? You would be like, if you score a goal, especially under those circumstances, but even under the same circumstances as Maisie, you're so excited. Like your first thing is almost just to run about and just go, yes. Yeah, you know,
you celebrate with your players, but you also are like, oh, there's the fans, and then you're like, where's my mum? You know, it's all there, isn't it? So
it's only strikers who score like 15, 20 goals. They're like, oh yeah, I score goals all the time. I'll do my celebration now or whatever. Yeah. Whereas everyone else is just bloody pleased to score a goal.
Well, again, I mean, that was the FA Cup semi-final. There was a massive player bundle when Noodle scored the winner, but immediately Maisie turned to face where we were and was like, yes, look what we've done for you, kind of thing. So I think that's what she is. I mean, I don't suppose there probably was a possibility that she might have gone somewhere else, but a big reason why she stayed and a big reason why she's really happy to be staying is the fact that she has got this great relationship with us all.
Yeah, amen to that. Just a very brief. We are trying, everyone. We are trying to keep this to 1 hour. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But I just wanted to mention very briefly the fact that there were a couple of players. Well, there was one player who definitely wasn't there, which was Carla. We think Kreziman, we think, was there, but
she was there.
play.
Yeah, we could see
yeah.
it.
So she didn't play.
Ben had me stalking them all with my super zoom on the camera. Yeah.
Binoculars out.
Yeah.
And then we had Mylease, which is, probably the most surprising of the three, because she was actually named on the team sheet. I know saying that the team sheet might have been incorrect, but obviously that infers that at some point or another she was intended to be on the bench. So but she ended up on crutches. So
with a boot.
Yeah, so that doesn't bode very well. So obviously we think that's probably why Maisie ended up at centre back, because it probably should have been Mylease. Certainly. So we'll obviously await news on that one, but it would be disappointing for everyone, and no more so than for Mylease herself, if she is injured again, because she's struggled to stay fit, struggled to get onto the pitch a lot of the time, and then when she has been fit, we've been playing pretty well defensively, so she hasn't really been able to sort of break into the team, and to have another injury is going to be very frustrating. So I guess we just hope that that's a minor.
What I'm hoping is that I think if it was done that morning, I think the club is very kind of she's done something to foot, ankle, whatever.
Quick,
clamp it in the boot and then ask questions later, because I remember a couple of seasons ago, Guro Bergsvand got a foot injury, a clash of foot or something like that. But she was straight in a boot, but then she was playing like 3 or 4 days later. So actually, it was nothing. So I'm kind of hoping that that it's not much more serious than that. Quite annoyingly, I wasn't going to go down the front. I did go down eventually, which I might talk about in a bit. But I was going to go down and say, "Oi, kids gone FA," kind of thing. What have we done? Just to sort of find out what was going on. So I probably should have done actually. But yeah, it is annoying, isn't it? You don't want to. You want to start this season with a fit squad, and you don't want to be carrying a couple of players until October or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, with Mylease, it was quite visible, that, like you say, hopefully it's precautionary, but she was on crutches. I think with Kreziman, she just was there, but wasn't taking part. So hopefully, again, a minor injury or just, match fitness or whatever it may be. So hopefully this is something, we might be able to have the opportunity to ask about tomorrow at the fans forum. So if we can, we will find out. I think just very, very briefly on Carla, there has been rumours that there's interest in her from Lazio, obviously in the Serie A Femminile, I think it's called. I probably pronounced that wrong. But I don't know if there's been anything concrete. I think the players that were asked about it at the time were a bit cagey about it, so I wouldn't read anything too much into it yet, but there is interest, so it wouldn't be shocking if she did go either permanently or on loan, but obviously we'll again keep everyone updated on that. Yes, so moving on, we went about 4 minutes over there. I think we'll take that. We did have an incoming who actually played in the game, so hooray for that. But obviously, since we recorded our live episode, we had the news that Gabby George has joined us from Manchester United on what they're calling a 6-figure fee, which I tend to believe means around about 100,000, because otherwise you'd big yourself up, wouldn't you, and say we spent
record fee.
Exactly. Yeah. So
undisclosed terms.
Undisclosed terms, as always.
Why are you saying it? If it's undisclosed, then don't say it.
Brighton go out of their way not to tell us how long contracts are and stuff. So there we go. But yes, I think a bit of a surprise in a way, because it probably wasn't an area we were thinking necessarily we needed strengthening. And I think like I said in the earlier, I was kind of thinking if we were, it would probably be someone who was more of a wing back, or a quicker, change of pace to someone like Mo. But I actually think it's, the more I thought about it on the day, the more sense it made. So, Claire, what did you make when you make of the fact that Gabby George has come in from United?
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I think we're all looking at, oh, we just need a striker, so where's our striker? But actually, we do need to sort of. I think the FA Cup final kind of showed the lack of real depth that we had. No disrespect to the players that were there. But when you look at Man City and the fact that they bring on Miedemar and they bring on whoever, all these other fantastic players, and we are not able to keep up with that. We are bringing on a young 21-year-old kid that's not really played much, things like that. So I think in that aspect, I understand why the club is looking and going, okay, let's get 2 in every position if we can, that are strong. And I think, yeah, I look at it now, and I'm also looking down that spine of that team, really. You're looking at someone like Gabby George in the defence, the experience she brings next to Caitlin Hayes and Manami, that huge amount of experience with Manu there. And then you get into the midfield now, and you've got Valti, you've got Kirby, you've got Chankovic. Like, that's a whole heap of experience that we were lacking severely of. I think we all said it last year. It was the biggest thing. I think that sometimes you need that cool head to just calm everything down. And I think we're starting to get that now. And it's just about finding the little links that connect it all up. And I think people like Gabby George are maybe those little links that are just like, if we need something different, what have we got? And like you say, she's not Mo. She's slightly different. It's then both not going to play. It's going to be one or the other, depending on the games we're playing. So I think we're starting to see that doubling up in every position of what have we got, where can we use people. Playing Murphy out on the left is not a position she's necessarily plays, I would have thought, but she did all right. It'll be interesting to see where they all fit in different games and things coming on, moving forward now. It'll be interesting. But yeah, I'm quite happy with it. And quite frankly, anything that gives Man United less ways a bonus, because that is going to be my bold prediction that we will finish above them.
Well, speaking of predictions, I did predict, when we did our, one player to steal from every team, I did pick a left back from Man United. I just thought that because they signed this, I think her name is Andrea Medina, but she's quite a highly thought of Spanish player. It was too many cooks in left back. I thought they might get rid of Sandberg on the basis of the homegrown English player, but actually they chose George over Sandberg. They chose to get rid of George over Sandberg, which is interesting because it helps us. It gives us another homegrown player.
And I think it's interesting though to look at Man United's what's going on there. Like, the manager's left, and they have had a bit of an exodus. So I wouldn't necessarily wonder if it was they chose to get rid of her or if she went, I'm off.
Go. Yeah. Well, she said she wanted to come to us to play football. She wanted to get more regular game time and stuff. So I personally think she'll probably spot Manu sometimes and Mo other times. Because I don't think it's sustainable for Marissa to play every game like she did last season, or pretty much every game anyway. And then obviously, Manu, I can't remember who I was talking to about it at the game, but, Manu often has to go halfway around the world on international duty, play 3 games, not 2, and then fly all the way back and then kind of play 90 minutes for us. And I think sometimes they'd like to not have to make her do that. And by bringing in Gabby George, you've got someone who can play on the left-hand side like Mo does, and can get forward a bit, but it's going to be primarily more defensive, but can also play on the left of the 3 centre backs, and she's left-footed. So between those 3 players, left centre back and left back, 3 players all left-footed. and I think that's quite key for Dario. I get the sense that if he had to leave Manu out, he would consider that quite. I don't know what the word is, but
it's difficult to replace her, isn't it?
Exactly, because you lose your left-sided, left-footed left back, if that makes sense. So being able to play Gabby George there sometimes and give Manu a break, or give Mo a break, or it might just be sometimes that we need more left-footers and more defensive bodies. And if you're playing on the left-hand side, it is easier if you're a left-footer. So the other option would be to occasionally let Manu play at left wing back, because she's good at marauding forward. She's actually, she gets herself in some good positions when she bombs forward sometimes.
Absolutely.
She's very energetic as well, and sometimes it might be that they kind of have some sort of system whereby one or the other of them can go forward and then the other one stays back and cover. So it gives you more flexibility. If it was a right footer having to come into that spot, it would be more difficult, because you've suddenly got to come across to your left and start playing with your right foot and so on and so forth. So I think strengthening a strength by and large is a good idea. Ben, what did you think about the Gabby George signing?
Well, I can't believe we've been talking all this time about the lefty, and I haven't been able to get a word in yet.
1,000 apologies.
More the merrier. I mean, I've got to go back in time and wipe all those podcasts where I might have inferred that I thought Poppy Pattinson was a better player than Gabby George. It obviously can't be the case, because Poppy Pattinson plays for a terrible team in Bromley, and Gabby George has come to Brighton. So, I think it's great. I mean, obviously lefties generally, but obviously lefties because we like lefties on the left. And I think also the other thing with Mo as well is that there's quite a lot of games last year where she was moving into midfield and stuff, and that gives Dario the flexibility to move Mo around. He doesn't have to play her on the left all the time because she's the lefty. So it's great. I think it was real left field one though, wasn't it? We were minding our own business, and then suddenly on Tuesday morning, I think it was, Emma Sanders at the BBC suddenly said, "Oh, apparently Brighton are talking to what?" And then they confirmed it on Thursday, didn't they? And it was kind of, wow, that's and again, I think, as Claire said, it's interesting that it's a Mancunian Man United player, because very often those are the only ones that stick around because they're Man United fans and they play for the badge. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that she's a Man United fan actually, but she's a Mancunian. So to get her out, and I think she said she wants to put a smile back on her face, which I think as a club we're very good at. I think the specifics I can't remember. I've heard it from a fair few players. I remember Bruna Villamala certainly basically recaptured her love of football when she came to us. So I think we can do the same for Gabby George. I hesitate to say maybe get her back in the England squad, because I think when you pull on a Brighton shirt, basically you have to accept that your England career is over. But it's exciting. I think and it's a statement of intent as well. I think that it's like I mean, I was going to say we're not just getting someone from the Championship, but then obviously we did sign Sophie Pesquet, who turns out to be really good. But we've gone. She's a name, isn't she? She's a name. So we've gone and got another name to add to our Fran Kirby and Alia Valti and Jelly Jankovic, etc. So it's all the goods.
Yeah.
And she obviously she came on for Jelly Jankovic with about 20-25 minutes to go, and was good. so it was good.
Yeah, I agree with all that, and I think we've spoken before about not necessarily being able to get lionesses. I'm a big proponent of getting future lionesses, but I think with Gabby George, you get someone who is lioness adjacent at least. Do I think if Brighton have a good season and we keep a good number of clean sheets, she can get back in the England team? I think so, because we're very, very, very underwhelming on the left back for the England team. So and
a couple of injuries, doesn't it? And that squad is very thin.
Exactly, and I think maybe that's another thing that's factored into her sort of thinking is, if I'm going to sit on the bench all the time at Man United, I'm not even going to get a shot at the England squad. At least if I go down to Brighton and we play well, I might get some consideration. But you know, as we say, you know, if you come to Brighton, that you suddenly become invisible to the England selectors, apparently. So we shall see how that pans out. The other big news, I suppose it's big news. It's not really news. Everyone knows it's coming, but we had the fixtures released. So that was interesting. I think one of the highlights for me was probably noticing that out of the first, I think, 6 home WSL games, 4 of them are at the Amex. Which acute listeners to the podcast will note that I mentioned quite a long time ago that they would need to front load the season with those games, because if the women and the men are in all the cups, there would just not be room next season. It would be almost impossible next year to fit all these games in. So what they've essentially done is they've fulfilled the brief in the first 3 or 4 months. So now, if we get another couple of games after Christmas, great, fandabidozi, and I hope we do in some ways, although it would mean that we're doing very well in the cups if we don't. But I did think that was interesting. It was what I suspected they would do, and they did. It's not the opening day home game, which we'll come to in a second, and we're also not playing Palace at home at the Amex. We're playing them at the Broadfield, which I think is probably a good idea. There's no animosity between the women's teams. Having said that, if you put it at the big stadium, you risk it becoming something else, and I think they've probably factored that in. But all the other ones this calendar year, so December and earlier, are all at the Amex, which I think is West Ham. These are not in order: West Ham, Charlton, Liverpool, and I can't remember the fourth one. Villa, yeah.
Is it Villa?
I think it is Villa. Yeah, I think it is Villa.
I think it was Villa.
Yeah. So some good games, some interesting games, hopefully some winnable games. It'd be nice to get some more wins under our belt at the Amex. But yeah, I'll come to you first on this one, Ben. Were there any sort of standout fixtures to you? Any ones you were looking for in particular?
I don't know. I mean, not really. Just want to get going, really.
Although you might not be there at the first game.
I might not be there at the first one because we sort of booked a holiday and then the fixtures came out and I'm like,
happened to me 2 years ago. So
yeah, so I might not be at the Arsenal game at Broadfield. I'm glad that's not at the Amex because we know that the size of the Arsenal travelling support, and we don't want to be outnumbered in our own house, do we? So it's I think it's a good time to get Arsenal, I think, because they've had a big overhaul as well. They've been, I think, obviously last season they beat London City 4-1 on the first day, but generally speaking, the beginning of their seasons has been quite slow going over the last couple of years, which is at the end of the day why it's kind of cost them a shot at the title, I think. So if we can get them before they've really got themselves together, and hit them with our new girls and stuff, then that'd be a nice way to start, wouldn't it? It'd be quite annoying if I'm not there and we beat them, but because that means I'll have to miss all the games.
You're not allowed at any other game after that.
I have to miss all the rest of the season because we're only women. I'm not there. But yeah, I think there's some nice ones in there. Obviously, there's because of the way the international breaks work and because of the League Cup games and things in there. There's a few evening games as well, aren't there?
I think maybe the beginning of next year they start. When I had a look, but yeah, we've got the Subway Cup. I think we might talk about the Subway Cup maybe next week. We might do a deep dive in our extra podcast, because that's how we're going to do it from now on. Just a heads up.
Yeah. I suppose the big thing is that we've got 26 games next season instead of 22.
Yeah, that'd be nice. An extra 2 home games is a nice thing to have. Especially, I mean, the season ticket did go up, but it didn't go up. It probably went up by like basically 2 games. It didn't go up massive, like 2 games plus then some more. So actually, feels again still very good value. Claire, any fixtures pop out to you, or any ones you were were you sort of eyeing up some of these midweek games under the lights or anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, I love a midweek game under the lights, so I am glad there's a few of those. Normally, it is just the cup games, isn't it? And they can be a bit drab and everyone turns up to try and beat us, obviously. But I think we've got a couple of bigger games, so I'm very excited about that. I just love the whole thing. It was I think the last 2 or 3 seasons it's either been Everton or Aston Villa as our first game. So when Arsenal popped up, it was like, oh, that's different.
Makes a change.
Yeah, that's different. I think, and then it's Birmingham, so it's like there's a couple of new games to start the season with. So I just want it to get on with now. I just want to be going to games every week and moaning about how much the coach costs and how many miles and stuff. I just want to get on with it, because I think that's the thing with games like yesterday. It wasn't so much the football; it's more the community of it all, of getting together and seeing people that you haven't seen for ages, and just saying hi and chatting to people and waving at people as you walk past, or whatever, and mooching around the store and seeing the overpriced hats for sale, and it's all lots of fun, isn't it? And so I'm just really, really excited and looking forward to it. And I hope, like Ben says, I'm hoping that Arsenal haven't gelled yet, because I think the last few seasons they've been a good team still, even though they've had their issues. They've been a good team, whereas this season they are a completely new squad. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly they gel as a team. Same with London City, So it'll be fun. I don't see that we should be scared of it. I think we've shown them quite clearly in the last few games that we are up for it. Very excited. Very excited.
Yeah, they've been very nice to us again, because I'm pretty sure this happened last season. Not sure about the season before, but we're starting with a home game and finishing with a home game, which is quite nice. Although obviously it didn't work out too well for us last season with the last game being at the Amex, but it's quite nice to bookend it with knowing you haven't got to go to like Manchester or something, to say bye to the players or whatever. So, that was very kind of them. Thank you, WSL fixture makers. So there we go. As I say, I think we'll maybe next week. Essentially, what we're going to try and do to try and sort of split things up and make everything a bit more streamlined is record an hour on a Monday at the very least, with the sort of main news. And then if there's sort of things we want to do deeper dives and go into a bit further, or we start going beyond the hour, we'll essentially record a kind of a SheGulls podcast extra type thing, which will probably be released sort of slightly later, like a Wednesday or a Thursday. So just so people will start to get used to the new format. So you'll get your sort of core information in the first hour. And then obviously, SheGulls podcast extra. Maybe I can think of a better name for it than that. I don't know. That will come along later. But in this instance, because we've got the fans forum on Tuesday night, we're going to be back on Wednesday night. And that's going to be your extra slice of the SheGulls podcast. So there you go. So you should still get a good hour and a half or so, maybe 2 hours sometimes if we've got enough. But for people who want the sort of more concise stuff, it'll be an hour on a Monday as per usual. So hopefully everyone will get used to that, I'm sure. Okay, so a couple of things to sort of shout out. Again, I mentioned it right at the top of the show, but our podcast that we held live at the Crossbar a couple of weeks ago, week and a half ago, something like that. Just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came along and supported. It seemed to go pretty well. Like,
it was great.
I mean, I was absolutely shocked when I realised that my phone was recording the audio as well as our mics, which meant that you could hear the audience asking questions and stuff, although slightly lower volume, because I had assumed that probably you wouldn't be able to hear the audience, in which case it might be 30 seconds of us in silence and then us like laughing or something. So it kind of, everything came up Millhouse basically. I mean, you don't have to speak too long on it, but how did you Claire, I'll come to you first. What did you think of it? What did you make of it? Would you like to do it again? Is it something you'd be keen to do again?
I thought it was brilliant, and I mean, to be fair, I would even give it a go of actually doing it live and broadcast it straight to YouTube like we do now, because I think it was probably more of a test run to see how it all worked for us, wasn't it? Mostly, but Yeah, I thought it was great, and it really got everybody involved. More people came out for it's a night out, isn't it? The Crossbar got some beers sold, and everyone was quite happy. But yeah, I think it's just a nice environment to do it on, and actually to us all be in the same room together as well. I just think it was quite good fun. So yeah, I would absolutely do it again.
It was almost like a little mini fans forum, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But without the overlords looking over it.
Literally fans forum. Yeah.
Ben, what did you make of it? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was great fun, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, just just a great chance to get together again. I mean, like as Claire said about the match on Sunday, it was just a great chance to sort of get in touch and see people you've not seen for a few weeks and stuff. So yeah, and yeah, I hope everybody had a good night. It was sort of lots of laughs and stuff. I know I've been in the Crossbar a couple of times since, and the feedback from them is that they thought it was great as well. I think they sold plenty of beer. It was a Wednesday night, wasn't it? Which they obviously would have been pretty quiet otherwise. So yeah, all good. I think maybe we should try and squeeze another one in before the season starts or something, or something like that, or at least sort of early into the season when the evenings are still warm.
Yeah, that's very true. It was quite a warm night that evening, wasn't it? Yeah. So from our event, a week later, we had another event in the sort of Brighton Supporters Club community, certainly in the women's team community, which was SheGulls Over Sussex had their inaugural quiz night at the Seven Stars. So that went really well as well. I think probably 30-40 people or so there. I think we had 7 teams. Great quiz, well put on. Good hosts. I think in some ways it was quite nice that they use the 7 Stars, because it kind of gives them a little base where we can perhaps utilize the Crossbar a little bit more. So yeah, it went really well. I have my silver medal here to show everyone. Silver, yeah, only silver. To be honest with you, it looks like a winner's medal, but we didn't win. We lost by 1 point, so we were a bit gutted. It went really well. They raised over £600 for charity. I think may even have been a smidgen more. And so big thanks to them for organising it. I know they want to organise more and more things, as do we, and ultimately that's all to benefit the community, to benefit you guys. Also, obviously theirs was to raise money for the foundation as well. So it's all good stuff. It's all good community spirit, helping each other out and building this fan base. That's ultimately what we're all here for. So yeah, it was fantastic. Okay, what else we got? Lily Dent, again, just a brief one, has gone out on loan to Sunderland. So we obviously wish her all the best. I hope that she plays. I think that's my main take, is that I hope that they use her. She's been in and around the sort of England, is it the 20s or the 19s? 20s.
I'm coming to that.
As has, I think, Grace McEwen. Is in the under 20 squad. So maybe Grace goes out on loan as well. We will see. Did you want to elaborate on that, Ben, briefly there?
Well, I just wishing Lily all the best. I think she before she suffered her ACL when she was out season before last, now wasn't she was out at Portsmouth, and I think even then when she was just 18, she was pretty much setting Portsmouth on fire. So, scoring some, I think she got a goal of the month, or certainly a goal of the month nomination anyway. Good, confident kid. Hopefully, she should fit in very well with, I'm trying to sort of, she should be able to assert herself in a squad like Sunderland. That's what I think I'm trying to say. So she should be getting plenty of minutes. I mean, I'd be with someone like Lily, especially. I'd be like, if she doesn't get sufficient minutes, I'd be pulling her back at Christmas.
Bring her back, yeah.
But I think she will, because I think she's a very good quality player, and she's very bright and very assertive. I think so. Just all the best, Elle.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. As I say, I think we may see a couple more players go out on loan before the end of the. I mean, the youngsters are probably going to need some, and also I think our squad is a little bit over in terms of numbers, so we could see a permanent or two, or certainly a loan go out. So we'll be keeping our eye on that. We do have another friendly that is available for us supporters to go and watch. The only minor snag is you have to fly to Spain to watch it. I mean, it depends if you see that as a snag or a positive. I mean, some people see that as a positive. But we are playing Barcelona on the 21st, I believe, of August. It's a Friday. Tickets, I don't think, are on sale through Brighton yet, but they are urging supporters to not buy through Barcelona yet. Whether that changes or not, I'm not sure. I would recommend keep an eye on the main website, certainly the women's ticketing and stuff like that. I mean, it's a really exciting opportunity. I think if flights were a little bit cheaper than or it wasn't on in the evening, you'd probably get a few more Brighton supporters. But I think there's a good number of people going over. I'd be surprised if there wasn't 20 to 30 there. Plus, I believe some of SheGulls over Spain are trying to get there too. So, if they could bump it up to 40 or 50, that would really make a big impact, certainly for everyone. So if you are interested in that, then, as I say, do keep an eye on the website. Or alternatively, if you want to get in touch with us and we can put you in touch with a couple of people who are going, if that would be helpful, then please do. And we can do what we can. The last thing to say is, as I said earlier, it is the fans forum tomorrow night. So if you're watching this live and you're not listening to it, you are able still to go, as far as I know. I think there's still a few spaces left to be able to attend. I believe it's going to feature Dario, Zoe and Maisie at least. Probably, I'm guessing, sort of MC by Johnny Cantor, but again, I'm not 100% sure. Hopefully will be available on YouTube. Obviously, if it is, we'll repost it and let everyone know. But as I say, we are going to do an episode on Wednesday to sort of cover off all the news from it and everything like that. So hopefully we can catch you up if you can't catch up yourself. Is that everything?
Well, there were a couple more things. Sorry, back to Lily and Grace McEwen.
Yes.
There have been both selected for the England under-20s squad that are going out to. Well, they're probably out there already. They've got a friendly with Portugal on the 13th, which is a sort of build-up match for the under-20s World Cup, which starts at the beginning of next month.
Right.
Obviously, that squad hasn't been announced, but it's presumably going to be very similar to this squad.
We can hope.
Best luck to those two. Hopefully they can make a big impact there as well and get themselves over to Canada. Actually, it's not. So the first game's against Canada. So obviously Sunderland hopefully will have to do without Lily for the first sort of few weeks of the season, because she'll be playing in the under-20s World Cup, hopefully. I suppose, and the other thing was that, I mean, I've been doing my loan reports about the kids since January. I finally got to speak to Olivia Garcia on Sunday after the game. I wasn't going to go down the front, but I saw her sort of loitering, so I'll quickly rush down there and call her over, because I should have gone down earlier and asked what the earth was going on with Melis's foot. But just to say, just welcome. Finally got you here. She was quite chuffed that I told her we'd been watching what she was up to in AIK. She's looking forward to obviously banging some in for us. And I also, it's one of those things you sort of, should I ask her? I asked her about the headband, because obviously people will have seen that she's got sort of leather scrum cappy sort of padded headband thing that she wears. And she said, basically, obviously, people always assume that it's because she's had an injury, but she hasn't.
It's preventative.
Well, yeah, it was when she was a kid, she's out playing football with the boys, as it is with most girls playing football, and basically her overprotective father said, if you're going to be playing with these rough boys, you're going to sort of protect yourself, and so she started wearing this thing, and it just became her thing. So she doesn't need it for protection as such, other than the fact that she wears it for protection. But it's just a thing that she wears now because she always has done. So it's quite nice that she hasn't had a serious head injury in the past. But,
well, there you go. And that was a fact we didn't know before now. So that's breaking news here.
That is breaking news. But yeah, I mean, again, lovely to chat to her, because she's been ours since January, and we've been watching her from afar. So it was nice to sort of finally welcome her to Brighton and stuff. And I think, again, I sort of bigged up a lot of the new girls and stuff earlier on. I think she was getting herself into positions where I think a lot of the time we didn't get into last season. And I think she just needs to be found, and suddenly we're getting a lot more goals.
Yeah. Yeah, we can certainly hope. I think that's Dario did mention after the game that they were still on the lookout, so we'll see if there are any incomings as well as outgoings.
But again, I mean, that would make sense if Carla was to be either bought or loaned out, then there would be a gap, because I think whether or not Carla is the striker, there needs to be that person, whether it's Carla or another. So that would make sense.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be following her with an even more of a keen eye this season. Now she'll be out on the pitch for us rather than AIK, so that would be nice. Yes. So I think that just about brings us to the end of this week's show. We pretty much made it. We've gone 6 minutes over-ish. That's all right. We can do that. And remember, you are going to get a double dose, because we are back on Wednesday. So, don't panic ye not. Yes, so obviously remember you can find us at SheGulls on X or Twitter, and of course Instagram, run by friend of the podcast, Steve. Thank you very much, Steve, as always. You can find us at SheGulls.com, where obviously the match reports and everything will be starting to reappear soon. So do keep an eye out there. And of course, you can find out all the other information about the Patreon and everything like that. There's interviews and stuff on there as well. So yeah, whatever you need, head to SheGulls.com. You can also jump on Facebook and find us there. Just search for the SheGulls podcast. And whilst you're there, do give Brighton Women fans a follow for more general Albion chat. So I think all that remains for me to say is, as always, a massive thank you to you, Ben.
Well, thank you all.
An enormous thank you to you, Claire.
Thank you.
And I shall say this has been the SheGulls podcast. Good night, everyone.